let this be a valuable lesson to anybody that wants to try customizing their knives. Not all knife rebuilds go the way they should. That is the important lesson that we learn from this. This knife right here, if you've been watching my channel for a while, then you'll know that I took this Benchmade mini Bugout. It was originally in orange Grivery, orange thumb studs, orange standoffs, I do believe, orange Grivery handles. And we did a full tilt carbon fiber job on this. Carbon fiber and titanium. With this knife, I learned a very valuable lesson after I was carrying it for a while, and that is the lock bar on crossbar lock knives pretty much should never be titanium. And it's pretty amazing to me how many stores, how many companies are selling titanium lock bars for crossbar lock knives. And let me show you why. This knife, no matter how I oiled it or greased it or lubricated it, and no matter what I used, no matter what kind of grease, no matter what kind of lubricant, and I tried half a dozen different things to try to get this thing to break in properly, and still what happened was the locking side of the knife that rides along the lock bar as it opens, over time it slowly filed down the lock bar to the point where, look at this. That is certified lock rock. That is really bad. Listen. So we have up and down blade play that we need to fix today. That's issue number one. Issue number two is the fact that these are death grip scales, carbon fiber scales. That's all fine. This Backspacer, I'm fairly certain, was from Flytanium, and it's also carbon fiber. The problem is, when the blade is in the closed position, the blade is actually resting against the carbon fiber. I've actually opened this knife up and found shavings of carbon fiber against the blade. So this knife is a hot mess at the moment. I am not sure what to blame it on because all the titanium parts are from XXX Adrenaline XXX, and he recommends that you use grease on the lock bar to break everything in and wear it in properly. Well, I tried legitimately 3 different kinds of grease, and it didn't matter. So my solution to that is to never use titanium lock bars ever again. So there you have it. Now we have to take this knife apart. What I'm going to do, this is going to be a longer form video because it's going to be kind of a vlog style with me doing a lot more talking. Because I have to take the lock bar out and I have to inspect the knife to see if it's even still serviceable, what I've decided that I'm going to do is just take all the titanium parts off and go to all steel parts for this particular knife. So we have a steel parts kit. This is from knivesplus.com. I'm not sure who actually makes it. We have a Flytanium steel lock bar, because Flytanium makes other things than just titanium parts. And we're going to take the Backspacer out, and we're going to go to these titanium, well, not titanium, carbon fiber ringed standoffs from DNA Lasering. These look like they're exactly the same as the Flytanium stuff, so it probably is. Just kind of the same thing. So let's go ahead and do a quick function check before we get things rolling. We have a knife that has up and down blade play. It has a little bit of side-to-side blade play too. It is drop shut, but it's not centered, and the blade is making contact with the backspacer, so we have some fixing to do. All right, let's get into it and get this over with. I have been dreading this. It's needed to come apart for months. I've been letting this knife just sit here and collect dust, and I never bothered to take it apart and see what the damage was, just because I just wasn't in the mood. You know, when a project like this doesn't go according to plan, it kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth where you really don't even want to touch the knife at that point. You just want to pretend it doesn't even exist. That was a T10, by the way. We're going to go to a T6. This is the Scout Leatherworks bit driver. We're just going to pull all this stuff off. Keep it nice and neat over there. And I'm going to really clean up this knife because I want to see to the extent what kind of damage was done from just everyday wear and tear. Because if we got lock rock like that, then who knows what else has been worn down excessively. It's a shame. But when you have a project go sideways like this, what do? Well, you pick things up and you fix it. You get a new set of parts, a new set of priorities, and you fix the problem. There we go. It's not coming apart. Well, it doesn't really matter. It's going to get tossed anyway. That's getting tossed. Pull the pocket clip off. Pocket clip's going to be saved. The screws are not. So let's see what kind of damage was done. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but check this out. Even with it lubricated, the blade actually filed down the pivot. Like it's noticeably thinner where the blade was riding on it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that. I'm trying my best to get all this on camera. But in any case, there you have it. So let's check out the lock bar, because I know there's damage to that. Yeah, see that? There's a flat spot where the back side of the knife ground down the lock bar. So this, I'm pretty certain, is all, yeah, it's titanium versus the Flytanium steel one. So suffice it to say, I am not educated all that much on tensile strength or Rockwell hardness or whatever. But I'm hoping that the steel just kind of wore down the titanium, and that's it. I'm hoping that the titanium didn't wear down the steel in any serious way. You would certainly hope not. Okay, let's do the Slip 2000 725. Clean everything up and take a closer look at it. I'm going to wipe this down pretty liberally. I'm not really getting the impression that the knife was worn down all that much, if at all. It certainly doesn't look that way from the naked eye. So I guess we'll see once we get it rebuilt how well it fits together with everything with a new set of parts. I enjoyed carrying the knife. It's a cool little knife. It just bums me out that this had to happen. Okay, let's do the parts kit right here. This is all steel parts. Kind of heavy, if I'm being real. So we're going to take everything off. I have to take the thumb studs off too, because I'm even going to get rid of those. We're going to go all the way back to steel with this one. I know I just got done doing a Benchmade tagged out with a bunch of titanium parts, but with this one, like I said, it left a bad enough impression that we are not going to go that route with this rebuild. Is that Loctite? Might be from when I took it apart the first time. Okay. So, you know what I think I'll do is I will actually start with these from DNA lasering. I'll put these on one side of the knife since it's not dependent, well, since the liners, the partial liners, are not dependent upon the standoffs to be put into place. I think it matters what side they really go on. So let's go ahead and take a screw and put this through. You know what, I'm just going to do this just to get it started. That seems like it'd be a little easier. And put this through right there. And then put this carbon fiber ring around it to the extent that I can get it on there. It seems like it's going to be finicky. Is it just that tight? Yeah, it's just that kind of tight. Okay, so let's go this route. Let's just put it on like here, right here. And normally I wouldn't do this, but let me just try to... Yeah, it looks like it's gonna need to be kind of pounded into place or compression fit into place when I screw it down. That's interesting. There we go. Yeah, that is tight. I really had to push on it to get it on there. I figured it would be a little looser than that. I mean, it's a pleasant surprise that it's not loose, that it is a fairly tight fit, but I was just a little surprised by that. Okay, let's get this on here. There we go. Hopefully that will work out better. And then this one. See, this one is really loose. I went through without any trouble at all. Well, I guess with these aftermarket parts, you can get some inconsistent tolerances. That's not outside of the realm of possibility by any stretch. Come on. Okay, we'll have to tighten that down later, but whatever, it's on there. And it's not going anywhere. Okay, now we need to get the liners back together. So I need the blade stop pin, and I need the Flytanium lock bar. I didn't know that Flytanium actually made steel lock bars, otherwise I would have bought a bunch of them much sooner. Okay, get this blade stop pin on there. And you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to get the ALG Go Juice, which is in this bottle right here, and I'm going to lubricate this just a touch. It's easy to overdo it with this stuff, but it doesn't really matter. Anything that is beyond what's needed is going to just fall out of the knife anyway, and it'll have to be cleaned up later. Okay. Let's get this. While we're at it, put this on here. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to take these off. Taking even that off. Okay. Set that down right there. Make sure, yeah, I got it a little bit. There we go. You can never have too much of this stuff. I don't care what anybody says. You can never have too much of this stuff. Okay, then the other washer. These are oversized, hand-lapped phosphor bronze washers. I think they're actually out of production. I think the original company that I got these from hasn't had them in stock for quite a long time. So, that's unfortunate. Well, I should have done this differently. God damn it. Okay, well, we're just going to stack it the other way, like this. So the thing about these crossbar lock knives, whether it be Benchmade or Hogue or any other major company that makes these, they're not disassembly friendly. Not remarkably so at all. Okay, now, this is the part that always screws me up, especially when I'm holding it in a different hand than I normally do. Got to get this piece through there, and then the lock bar, and then it has to fit through the liners. I'm usually doing this with a different hand. There we go. There we go. Get these Omega springs in place. Okay. Now we have a liner module with the lock bar in place, kind of where we need it. So let's get that put on. I have the pivot bushing and the screw. Let's just make sure that one side of this is at least fastened down. That way it's easier to deal with. And get another one of these. Run it through the blade stop pin. Okay. Now, I'm gonna attempt to get the pivot barrel through. What always seems to cause problems is trying to push the pivot barrel through. I'm going to use some AeroShell on here to grease this up. Once again, I'm using way too much, but it's fine. The hard part is pushing it through because everything is so compression fit and to such specific tolerances that a lot of times it doesn't want to come through without a lot of really awkward, like, pushing. Sometimes it'll just slide in, though. That maybe I'll luck out this time. Yeah, did it? Did it just slide in there? Not quite. So we're going to try to pushing it through again. Let me close the blade more slightly. It always works with the blade partially closed. It tends to work better that way. Now I'm having trouble getting it through. Well, that's because it's backwards or upside down. There we go. No, it's stuck again. Ooh. And it's like not straight anymore. That's a problem. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. These are hard to get it in just right and have it not damage parts or have everything like come off center. So, okay. Now it's completely in. Whew, I lucked out on that one. Okay, let's get this on before something has a chance to go wrong. Put the pivot screw on. I'm just going to take this without a bit driver on it and just screw it down enough that it's not going to go anywhere. And of course, I have a missing standoff. So let's get that on. In fact, I think I might actually lead with that. That might be the smarter thing to do in this very moment. Come on. Well, now because it's steel, it's like magnetized to the bit, and it wants to be difficult. There we go. Okay. Now, the pivot. Just get this other bit driver from CountyComm, put that right there in case I need it again. All right, now we don't need the standoffs because we're using these carbon fiber ones. If it still rubs against the carbon fiber, if the blade still rubs against the carbon fiber when we're done, then I'll take the carbon fiber standoffs off the knife, off camera, and put these on, and I know those will work because these are the OEM style, the vanilla style standoffs anyway. So, but it would be nice to be able to have more carbon fiber than just the scales. Okay, before we go any further, let me see if things are gonna fall into place just right. You know what, let me use this, because I never use it on camera, and just check the clearances. And yes, it looks like we are just barely not touching either standoff. This is an EagleTac D25, or no, D3A titanium is what that flashlight is. Okay, so that's a success. And without any adjustment at all, the blade is dead center. So we are dead center, we are not touching the standoffs, and we are utilizing all steel parts. I'm actually going to put some Go Juice right here on the lock bar and work that in just a little bit. And already it is smoother than it was with the titanium one. And I even used AeroShell on the titanium lock bar, and it just was not working. Okay, now we need to put the thumb studs on. Stainless steel thumb studs. I'm getting excited now. Things are going according to plan, knock on wood. So, we're getting this done. I went from really dreading this to now I'm excited to carry this knife again. Really excited. Are we free spinning? We are free spinning. Okay. So I'm going to take this T10 out, grab this other T6, because we are free spinning. Try to be careful about this. Boom. And I know that one of the standoffs is free spinning, so we're going to tighten down both of those just for good measure. Try not to mar the screws. There we go. I'm also doing this the dumbest way possible. I could just close the knife and then pick it up. Oh, come on. The hard part is doing this on camera. Otherwise, I would just bring it closer to my face so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. There you have it. Pretty much. I mean, the pocket clip's got to go back on, but we are, by all accounts, a success. I mean, it looked like a success initially when I did the first video, but like almost immediately, I think the next day I started noticing something is not right with this. Something is definitely not right. And I was picking up on something that was definitely not right. So but that's the beauty of having different brands to customize your knife, different brands that make custom knife parts, is that if you don't like something, you can tear the parts off and start over. Go to a different maker, manufacturer, brand, whatever, and you might have better luck. Benchmade Mini Bugout is looking like a wild success. Hopefully I'm not speaking too soon. I'm going to tighten down all these extra screws just a little bit. I think this is my only carbon fiber knife. A little bit of trivia about Ben's blades. Oh man, that is satisfying. That is just amazing. We now have a knife that I'm going to have to work on it a little bit to get it to where it's drop shutty, but I mean, you could swing it shut without a lot of trouble. Way smoother than it was. It's dead center. It's not touching the standoffs. And it looks like no blade play up and down or side to side. And so thankfully, if there was any damage to the pivoting part of the blade, it was quite minimal. And here we have a truly fantastic subcompact EDC knife for my enjoyment. You'll love to see it. Okay. That's it. That's a satisfying success, finally. Questions, comments, put them in the comment section of the video. Otherwise, until next time, this is Ben from Ben's Blades telling you, carry a knife everywhere you legally can. You'll thank yourself later for it. I'll catch you later.